It's Thanksgiving leftovers once again in the sartorial kitchen, and today we're tackling sides. I'm kicking things off with a luscious Mexican corn chowder with green chilies, repurposing some leftover corn pudding. Next, I'm taking mashed potatoes on a tour of Italy with some potato soufflé cakes with fresh lemon over a bed of homemade pesto. And lastly, I'm taking the carcass once more and making a delicious Indian curry with some leftover pumpkin pie. So why don't you pull up a chair and dine with me?
Kitchen guys. The holidays are behind us. Well, Thanksgiving anyways. And one thing I love about Thanksgiving is that I get to see all my family and friends that I only see a few times a year. So it's really nice. But the other thing I love about Thanksgiving is all the leftovers. Now last year, I showed you guys some really fun recipes to repurpose leftover turkey, because let's face it, how many turkey sandwiches can you have? But this year I thought I would do something a little different and show you how to repurpose some Thanksgiving sides, and that is exactly what we're going to do today. First, I'm starting with corn pudding, which is a side staple in most people's Thanksgivings. But I thought I would turn it into a luscious corn chowder. But we're doing a Mexican twist on this. It's going to have a little bit of spice to it. Right now I've got some bacon rendering here in my skillet. Just some bacon that I chopped up. That is sizzling away nicely, and to that I'm going to add 1 onion. I want this to render down because what we're going to do is we're going to use some of that fat to thicken up our soup. I've also got some heavy cream here, some chicken broth, and I have my leftover corn pudding. Alright, that is just 1 onion. Any kind of soup or stew or anything like that I'm making, I love to start with onion. And the bacon's going to give us a nice smokiness. Turn this down a little bit. Okay, and while that continues to render down, we're going to move on to the corn pudding. I've got some chicken stock here. What I'm going to do is puree this down so it's the consistency we want. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my soup pot out here. That is exactly where it's going to be going. Alright, one of my favorite gadgets here, my food processor, that is going to break down this corn pudding for us. And then I've got some fresh corn to add to it. This is a Mexican corn blend. It's grilled corn, it's got chilies in it. We're really going to make our soup shine. Okay, I'm just going to take our spoon here and I'm going to spoon some of this into the mixer here. And this is just a few servings. You really don't need that much, depending on how much soup you want to make. This is just it's what's going to give our soup a lot of body, and it's also going to help thicken our soup up. The corn has a lot of natural sugars and starches in it, which is going to play well in thickening up our soup. Alright, our onions and bacon have rendered down nicely. I'm going to go ahead and turn those off and set that aside and move on to the rest of our soup. So I'm just going to give this a rough chop real quick. Break some of this up. Just a few pulses. See that break down. Now this corn pudding, it's just corn with kind of like an egg custard, and there's some corn. So that's all going to help thicken our soup here. And then I've got some chicken stock here. We're going to use about half this container for the corn here, and then we're going to use the rest for another dish that I'm making later on. Okay, let's have a look here. Oh, this looks great. Nice. It's not too thinned out, but you can see that it's kind of really mushed up nicely. Now I've got my soup pot going here. I'm going to throw just a little butter in here. Just a couple tablespoons. Butter is also another important soup ingredient. Love butter. Okay, and that's going to melt down. It's another way to tell if your pot is good and hot. If the butter goes away quickly, you know you're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this mixture into my soup pot. And again, I just used a couple cups of chicken stock and probably about 4 cups of the leftover corn pudding. You don't want it too thin, you just want it to kind of blend together nicely, kind of like a puree. Okay, and I'm just going to stir this in. Alright, now to this, I'm going to add my Mexican corn. My onion and bacon. Give that a nice stir. This is already smelling amazing, you guys. And then lastly, we're going to finish it off here with some heavy cream. I've got just a few cups of heavy cream here. That's what's going to make this soup nice and luscious. You really don't need a whole lot of seasoning because you've got the chilies from the Mexican corn. The bacon gives you a nice salty, smoky effect. But I am going to go ahead and just while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to do about a teaspoon of salt and about half a teaspoon of black pepper. And to really amp up the Mexican flavors here, I have also got a little cumin. I'm going to do about a teaspoon of that as well. And for just a teensy bit more of heat, I'm going to do about an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne. And then we're going to give this a stir. And then I'm just going to let this come to a boil. We want all of our ingredients to incorporate nicely, and we will be ready to go. See you guys in a bit. Alright, the soup has come to a boil and I am ready to give it a taste. Ah, just smells so good. I'm going to top this off with just a little cotija cheese here. And all I need is a spoon. Oh, this just looks heavenly, doesn't it? Nice creamy soup on a cool autumn day. So good. The texture of that corn pudding is just luscious. You would never know. And you get that heat from the chilies and the roasted corn. The bacon gives it a nice crunch, some smokiness, and just that little bit of cotija cheese. Just really sets it off. Absolutely delicious. So, up next I am taking mashed potatoes on a tour of Italy. Stay tuned. Alright. On to potatoes. I think mashed potatoes, next to turkey is probably the biggest Thanksgiving staple. I really don't know anybody that doesn't do potatoes. But they're kind of one note, and I wanted to really do something exciting here. So I thought about doing like little potato souffle cakes, and we're going to serve that over a bed of pesto, homemade pesto. So I've got some mashed potatoes here just left over. Now we want to kind of thicken these up a bit. So I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup of flour. I've got 2 eggs. I'm just going to crack them in one at a time, making sure we watch for eggshells. And then I've got some salt and pepper here. These are already seasoned and everything, but I'm just going to throw in a little more. Teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and a little garlic salt. Again, about a teaspoon, or I'm sorry, half teaspoon. Okay, and then we'll break these eggs up and just kind of stir everything together. You want these to be kind of not too thick, but you want more of a thickness to it so it stays together in the pan, because what we're going to do is we're going to fry these in the skillet. And the egg is going to make it puff up nice. It's going to get a nice crust on the outside, and it's just going to be really soft and pillowy on the inside. Now one last ingredient here, lemon. I'm using the lemon for my pesto, but I thought it would be fun to zest a little into the potato. How about that? So we're just gonna, and we don't need a whole lot. Lemon zest is pretty strong. I'm just gonna zest about half this lemon here, just to kind of add some brightness and some different kind of floral quality. That is good. And a little Parmesan never hurts. Do about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan. And we're just going to stir that in. Okay, everything is mixed in nicely. This is good and thick. I'm going to take my scooper here and I'm just going to do a big old glob of this right into my skillet. Now I'm just going to do a few for me here. This mixture makes pretty many, but what's good is you can wrap this up and you can make some more another time. I think we'll do 6. That's a good number. I'll set this baby aside. While those begin to fry up, I'm going to move on to my pesto. Okay, it is pesto time. I've got my mixer once again. I'm going to start first with some basil. This is just fresh basil. And I'm just going to kind of break it up a little bit. This is going to do a lot of the processing for me, but I just kind of want to break it down some. Alright, that's just 1 package of basil. I've also got some pine nuts here that I have been letting go in my toaster oven here. And those are nice and golden brown. And I'm just going to add those right in. The pine nuts are going to give our pesto a nice meatiness. Okay, and I've got some more of my Parmesan here. About another 1/2 cup of the Parmesan. Okay. Some garlic, minced garlic. Raw garlic can be a little strong, so we're just going to do about a tablespoon here of that. then our lemon, which I have already zested. And now I'm taking the juice. And I'm just going to squeeze this right in here, and we want to watch for seeds. I'm going to do the whole lemon here. Okay, 1 and 2. Alright. That is it for the lemon. Alright, let's check these babies here. Oh yeah, you can see they're getting a nice golden brown color on them. It's exactly what we want. They're almost kind of like a pancake, but they're going to get nice and big and fluffy in the middle. And then we'll just let them go away on the other side there. I'm going to let those continue to cook on the other side while I finish off my pesto here. Give this a look here. Oh, nice. What I love about pesto is you get that lovely, vibrant green color. This is going to be so good. Okay, now let's check these babies once more. And they are just delicious. I'm going to flip them back over. Beautiful and crisp. And what's good about the leftover mash is they're already cooked. So you can pan fry these and they're good to go. If you were using like a whole potato or something, and you have to like bake them first and then mash them. And so this is a really quick, simple dish. I'm going to turn these off. And I've got my plate here. I'm just going to take and get a little fancy here. Take some of this pesto here. And you just plop it right down on the plate, and then you take your spoon and smear it out. That's kind of how they do it in the fancy restaurants. And then I'm going to grab some of my potatoes here, and I'm just going to nestle them right on top. And for good measure, I'm just going to sprinkle a little extra cheese on top. Fork, and we are ready to go. This is my potato souffle cakes with homemade pesto. Let's dig in. Oh, that's great. You can hear the crunch from the outside of the potato as I cut into it. And if you look on the inside, it is nice and soft and pillowy. So good. The egg rises up in there and just makes everything so soft and luscious. And you get that crunch from the outside of the potato. The lemon just makes everything zing. The thing about potatoes, they're kind of heavy, but the lemon just really brightens it up. Oh, and that fresh basil, the pesto, the garlic. Absolutely delicious. Last on my leftovers here, I'm taking pumpkin pie and turning it into a savory curry. So stay tuned. Right, on to my last dish. And we are making a turkey curry. I've got some turkey breast here left over. Picked the carcass clean, got every little bit I could. In my soup pot now I've got an onion going to that. I'm going to add some garlic here. About a couple tablespoons of garlic. I always like to let my onions render down first, because the garlic Doesn't take as long to cook and it'll burn. So I'm going to sweat that around with my onions. Okay, I've also got here some minced ginger. Ginger's a little stronger, so we're going to just do a tablespoon of the ginger. And then kind of stir that in as well. Already it's smelling like amazing. So, to that, also some chili paste here. And I'm going to do, this is a little hotter, so we're going to do just a tablespoon of that. Also stir that in. And it's already starting to smell like a Chinese restaurant in here. It's smelling so good. Okay, now to that, I'm also going to add my pumpkin. Now this is one piece of pumpkin pie, and it's just the filling, and that is all you need. I thought what would be interesting, the pumpkin pie has a little sweetness, and then you also have some of those fall flavors, the clove and the cinnamon and the nutmeg. I thought would really add an interesting kind of earthy note to this curry. And then the sweetness from the pumpkin pie itself is also going to kind of cut down on some of the heat here, so it's going to be like a sweet heat. Now, to season this, I've got some salt here. I'm going to do a couple dashes of the salt, about a teaspoon, about a half teaspoon of the black pepper. Okay. And some curry powder. You cannot have curry without curry powder. And I'm going to be adding quite a bit here. A couple tablespoons. I really want this to have a lot of flavor. I'm going to kind of stir this in. I want to add it now because I want, I kind of like the spices to toast a little bit in the skillet because it's really going to bring out their full flavor. And this is really smelling amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now to this is just the base of our soup. To that I'm going to add the rest of my chicken stock here from earlier. I'm just going to pour this whole container in. Is our chicken stock. And let's give this another stir, let everything get incorporated. And to round things out, our coconut milk. I've just got one container here of the coconut milk. Coconut milk is another staple in any curry. It's going to give it a nice body, nice richness. Just going to plop this whole thing right in there. Spoon and move to my whisk here, and I'm just going to whisk this in. Smells amazing. Now this is already pre-cooked, this turkey here. So I don't want to add it yet because it's going to dry out. We just kind of want to let our mixture here come to a boil, and we'll throw the turkey in and I'll let it come to temp. Alright, this is coming together nicely. Now to finish this off, I've got some rice here that has already been cooked. I'm going to throw that in. About half this container here. Just enough to kind of give it some body. gonna stir that in. What's great is when half of your ingredients are already ready to go. It's great because you can just kind of throw everything in. Let everything kind of come to temp. Now I am going to let this continue to simmer for a while with my chicken in it. I don't want to cook it too long because I don't want the chicken to overcook. But I do want the chicken to envelop those lovely flavors of the curry that we built just moments ago. So I'm just going to stir this in. And it was already smelling amazing. Oh my gosh. Yes. Alright, I'm just going to let that go for a while. Alright, this smells amazing, everybody. Not a lot of people out of my friends and family enjoy Indian food like I do. So it was another reason I kind of wanted to go this route, because I really get to have it. And this just smells amazing. I wish you guys could smell what's going on right here. Just those warm Indian spices, and you smell some of that, those pumpkin spices as well. So here we are, my pumpkin spice turkey curry. Try saying that 3 times fast. So let's give it a taste. Oh, so good. The rice gives it some nice filler. You just get those classic Indian spices here, the curry, the chili sauce. There's a little bit of sweet from the coconut milk and the pumpkin pie, and then you get some of those warm fall flavors, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the clove. Just really, really good. And then that heat at the end just kind of dances in your mouth. So good. Oh, luscious, buttery, and also good for a cool autumn day. So, as always, you have been dining with the Sartorial Chef. Please like and subscribe at the bottom, and until next time, bon appetit.